well, yeah, thanks, David. Johnny, hi, it's good to see you again there. Now that the kind of dust has settled down, you've had a chance to think back and look back at the game against England last weekend. What are the sort of the key things you take out of it that you can learn from in terms of moving forward?
Yeah, we've taken a lot out of the game. I think we got a lot of things right. We got a few things, we were sloppy in some areas, which we've looked at, and you learn a lot in showing what we showed, which was a lot of character to sort of stay in the fight and stay in the moment and make sure we were able to, bounce back from a lot of setbacks and a lot of things that weren't going our way and still be able to recover. So we learned a lot that if we can get out of that situation, it'll stand to us in the future as well. But yeah, there's lots of learnings on the other side of it. We need to be more accurate. We need to be better disciplined. Yeah, they were the main things really.
When you look at the third quarter of the game, do you look back at that now and say, we could have been better? Or are you happy with the way that you dealt with it at the time and moved on?
Oh yeah, of course. That's the period where, especially at the start of the second half, we showed some great bit of play, and we didn't take the couple of clear chances that we had to go and score the try. They stay in there. In fairness to them, their defence was so they worked so hard. Obviously with 14 men, but they were in the fight the whole time, and we weren't clinical enough to take that chance. And again, if you take that chance at 15-9 up, it can be a huge sort of turning point in the game, because then they have to play a little bit more, and it can take its toll. So look, we need to be more accurate across the board, but that period especially was one that we've looked at a lot.
And just a word before we finish up about Scotland, what you expect from them. I mean, in terms of silverware, they're not going to go on and win a title or be in a chance to win the title. You've had a good record against them in the last while, but they're just one of the most dangerous teams if you underestimate them.
Well, we definitely won't be underestimating them. We know some of the big results that they've had over the last couple of years is away from home. I suppose they hadn't a good record away from home, and then in the last couple of years they've beaten France, they've beaten England, Wales as well, and did they beat Wales in Parky Scarlet? Anyway, they've had some big scalps away from home, and they're a team to be reckoned with. I know they've no championship to play for, but that's when they can be the most dangerous. They can't, because they've got nothing to lose. They want to finish as high up the table as possible. But also, any time you play a game, whether it's a November international, a summer international, Six Nations game that doesn't have something riding on, it's very special. You're still playing for your country. You're still representing a lot, and we're preparing for their best performance, and they've got some outstanding individuals.
Matt, thanks very much. Have a good
Thanks.
Hi, Johnny Sexton here from Off the Ball. How are you?
Hi, good, thank you.
One of the areas that a lot of people are talking about since the England game was the scrum. There's a lot of confusion surrounding it. A lot of people are saying that 2 out of the 6 were penalties to England, that it wasn't ref correctly. Now that you've had time maybe to look back on it, what did you make of what was going on in the scrum?
I'm probably the wrong person to ask about scrum, Aisling. Look, I talked to the props obviously at the time, because I've got to go through the ref and ask for some solutions, and we weren't probably getting that detail, but it's hard in the heat of battle for all parties, for the props, for the ref, for me dealing with the refs. But look, the lads have sat down and looked at it. They feel that we can control things better from our side. We obviously the speculation about which is penalties or not, the lads feel that they can do their things better, and that's what we hope to do this week, and make sure that we get back to where we normally are, scrummaging, which is excellent. So I've no doubts about the lads and the personnel we have to turn things around.
And to have the opportunity now to win the Triple Crown at home, I think it's first time in 18 years. How special would it be to get that win in the Aviva?
Yeah, it'd be very special. It's obviously once we had lost that game to France, we set our targets on this, and it's the only thing within our control. If we can get a win, and if we can do that, then we're guaranteed a Triple Crown. And honestly, for us, then that would be a good thing. And then we sit back and watch the end of it. But we have to hold our end of the bargain up. We have to make sure we play really well. We need to perform on the big stage, which is where we're at. We want to perform for the people that come and watch us. So all our focus is on our performance. But yeah, it's nice to know if we do get it right and we get a win, that we've got a chance to lift some silverware in front of all those people.
Great, Johnny. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Johnny. Joe here from Virgin Media. How are you?
Hi, good. Thank you.
Just to develop on from Ashleen's point, in terms of winning silverware, for the progression of the team, how important is that to get over the line, to win silverware, to win championships, in terms of galvanising the confidence you have in the system that you're playing?
Look, I remember talking to you guys 12 months ago, longer, 14 months ago probably, and things weren't going great from a results point of view, but we're sticking in there, and our confidence levels were the same as they are now. We're confident in what we're doing and where we're going. Will silverware make that any better or worse? Look, it might validate it a little bit, but I still think we're on the right path. But we're not really thinking like that. We're thinking it's a great opportunity for us, and we need to keep building. That's the most important thing. We need to keep improving every game that we play, and we showed some great things against England, but we hope that we're a lot better this week.
There was a big impact made from the bench against England. Finlay Beaglin, Jack Conan scoring tries. Going into this weekend, if it's in the melting pot with 10 minutes to go, does that give you a lot of confidence, knowing that you have that firepower coming off the bench?
Of course, that's that's why the bench is so important, and sometimes you hear coaches talking about picking people to finish the game, and they've got such an important role. I thought that Connor and Robbie were outstanding as well when they came on. Jack Conan and Finlay, obviously you mentioned, but Rob Herring, outstanding as well. Dave, I can mention all of them. They were, that was the difference, was the impact our bench made. If they didn't play well, we wouldn't have got the result that we did. So fair credit to them, and then whoever's on the bench this week needs to have the same impact, because it could come right down to the wire.
Cheers, Johnny. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Hey Johnny, how's it going? Just wondering about the match in 2010 against Scotland. Is that so far in the past that there are no lessons to be learned, or can you look back at that and take something out of it, as in expected to win a home match and Scotland come up and got the job done on the day?
Yeah, I think I'm the only sole survivor from that day. But yeah, the scars still with me. Look, Scotland. That's exactly the message. You're trying to get across to the lads. We they had nothing to play for that day. We had a Triple Crown on the line, and they came and did a job, and they had nothing to lose, and they played brilliant rugby. It was a bad day. To have a packed out Crow Park, and we got nothing out of the game. So it's they're the things that. The benefit of having experience is you got someone like that to try and explain to the lads. We need to get our preparation spot on, and we've got obviously very good coaches with focusing on the process and making sure we get our jobs right. So I'm not sure too many of the lads will remember 2010, but I definitely will.
Do you have anything specific from that time that you identified maybe in the immediate aftermath of why it went wrong for you that day, or anything in the build-up you remember that you can use as an example when you're talking to the lads this week?
We didn't. We probably didn't nail our preparation. Even the night before the game, I remember a couple of things happening that were a bit off. We didn't get it right. And like I said,
mind me asking you, what were they, Johnny?
Just the things that you would normally do the night before a game, we veered away from that. We did try to do something new, but that's in hindsight. If we'd gone and played brilliantly, we would have said, "Oh, we should do that before every game." So it wasn't the overriding factor. The overriding factor was Scotland played better on the day, and we weren't quite at the level we should have been. So the most important thing is if you come away from a game, at least if you've given your best and your best performance, if you've lost, you just hold your hands up and say fair play to Scotland. They beat us, and that's what we have to focus on this week, is getting our best performance out there. And if we lose, we lose, but hopefully that won't be the case.
Very good. And just in the background, is there anyone running a book on Cheltenham there, or how many guys are interested in it, or what's happening there with that?
Yeah, there's a few lads. There's tip sheets up on the walls, and there's Willie Bennett's leading the charge, our masseuse, and yeah, obviously it's a big week in that regard as well for the lads. They love it. I think most Irish people do. So yeah, they'll enjoy it.
You throw a few quid down?
I don't myself. I'm not good with the horses. So I stay away from it.
David, Iain, how are you? It's good to see you. Now that the dust has settled down since the weekend and you've had a chance to kind of reflect back on the game, have you as a sort of collective forward unit spoken about maybe some of the issues? The scrum obviously being one of them. Everybody was talking up there on the scrum before the game, but England seemed to have the upper hand for some reason.
Yeah, look, we've had a look and we've reviewed it all. Got over a good bit of it yesterday, and we've been out in the pitch today doing bits and pieces. We're confident that we stick to what we do, what we've been practicing, what we've put out there prior to last weekend. We're confident that we still have a good scrum. There's a few variables that maybe didn't go our way, but we probably have to, what the learnings we have to take from that is how to manage that better. We probably understand that when things aren't going your way, not to continue trying to beat it with the same stick, if you know what I mean. We're going to maybe try and look at other ways to fix it, and maybe get our communication with the referee a wee bit better. Other areas like that, I'd probably leave the more technical stuff up to the front row. But for us to have a better out and sort of change the way that was trucking in the game, that'll probably be a big learning from that aspect. Yeah.
Do you feel that you need to be wiser in terms of trying to read particular referees? You know, because you seem to be penalised quite a lot of penalties given away during the game.
Yeah, like obviously, myself especially, there was a few really stupid ones in there. Probably getting a bit excited, carried away, trying to force things to happen instead of just, as I said there, similar to the scrum, sticking to our game, doing what we can do, sticking to our game plan, what we've been doing, what we've shown that we can do, not only in the last campaign but throughout this campaign when we do what we know we can do, rather than trying to go off sheet, if you know what I mean, which is maybe not only in that area of the game, but in other aspects of the game we did that too, and give England a few ins. But on the whole, I thought to be able to keep England to not letting them score when a team goes a man down, their back's against the wall, things can happen for a team like that. Like it definitely galvanises you. Just for us, if you think back to like the games that we might have played, South Africa away, we go a man down with a red card early on enough in the game, we go to win that game. It gives you the wins that you get when you're a man down are twofold, and it raises everyone's spirits. And I think that was something that we had to be wary of with England. But towards the end of the game, we knew we stuck to our game plan and got back on track with what we had to do. And it was, for me, it was pleasing to see when we went 15-all that we were able to just continue plugging away.
And just a final question, I mean, what do you expect from Scotland this week?
Yeah, look, Scotland, when they get playing, they're a very exciting team to watch. They play a lot of rugby, a lot of very, very nice, like a nice expansive game. They will play to width. They will have exciting trick plays that they often pull out of the bag. We just got to make sure that within those sort of expansive phases of play, they like to play, that we stay switched on. Their main men, obviously. Van der Merwe obviously won't be playing, but the likes of, like, you don't need to mention names, but Huggy or Finn Russell, those guys there are definitely massive threats. Not to mention their threats they have in their back row carrying as well. So we got to make sure that we're aware of those. Again, sticking to our game plan and trying to make sure that we can deal with those as best possible. I thought our D last weekend was pretty good. So if we can make sure we're on top of it again this weekend, and if we can get our D look after itself, then hopefully our attack can flow pretty freely.
Good man. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Corkers.
Hi, Iain Henderson here from Off the Ball. How are you?
All good, thanks.
Good. I suppose that every player is in the mindset that they can be called upon at any moment in a game, but I doubt you thought you would be needed as early as 82 seconds into the game.
No, funny enough, actually, just prior to the game, Jack Conan and I were in the change rooms before we got changed, joking about it, about coming on early. And last Six Nations, it actually happened against Wales too. So in my head, I was almost thinking, flipping the odds of it happening again must be pretty slim. But there we go. 78 minutes later was a different story.
Big time, yeah, very tough. And when it was 15-0, you just mentioned it there, all the momentum seemed to be with England. The crowd was really getting behind them. It was incredibly loud in the stadium. What was going through your mind?
Yeah, we had a few moments together. We were able to pull it in nice and tight, and just sort of confirmed to each other what we wanted to do, what we wanted of everyone. And it wasn't that we needed to go and change anything drastically. England, we knew they were going to have a purple patch at some stage in the match, and they came out at half time, probably rightly so, pumped up, and that purple patch lasted probably 15-20 minutes, and then we knew we had to just continue with our defence. Obviously, some aspects of the set piece weren't going well, so we kind of tried to sort those out, and then again just stick to our attacking game plan, and it came off.
And how big of a moment would it be for you to get a start now against Scotland in the Aviva? Yeah, look,
it's been in ways an exciting but frustrating campaign for me. So a start would be massive. Be delighted to get back in, and especially in front of a home crowd. It would be unbelievable to have this opportunity against a really good Scottish side to potentially do something special with the lads.
Brilliant, Ian. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Hi Ian, how are things?
All good, thanks.
How were the lungs holding up in those last 10 or 15 minutes? Because obviously you come on early in the game, and through various injuries, you haven't got to play a lot of rugby in the last few months.
Yeah, just a few frustrating things between the start of the season and over the last few weeks, be it COVID or whatever else. They were okay. The doc came on at maybe about 60 or 65 minutes and said, "How are you hanging in there?" And I said, I'm happy to go on. So when it gets to whether or not you're fully fit or you're not fully fit, the last 10-15 minutes of a game are always going to be tough, and you're going to be in that dark place. But thankfully, a lot of lads were adding massive energy around the pitch in terms of defence and attack, and that definitely helps keep you going.
And in terms of discipline, I know Corky asked about the scrums earlier on, but when it comes to lineouts, is there something there you need to address? Because it seems regularly enough over the last year or so that there's one penalty or so every game for that obstruction at a lineout, where you're kind of stepping in front of the jumper, just trying to close that gap. Is that something you need to work on?
When we look at we've reviewed our lineout obviously, and in previous games it might be slightly different. Those all come from, be it a mislift or something doesn't function well beforehand. That's usually the issue with that. When you fold around the back, it's usually due to a previous error, which is probably frustrating on our part, because we want to get good drill, we want to get good tempo. That one there, like there's various things that you can point at, but personally myself, I just need to make sure I'm more disciplined in behind Bernie there as he's going up. Obviously, we had massive threat, which we'd seen earlier on in the game from Maro Toje coming through the seams, and when you've got someone like that, he's your main worry there. And when you try to take that space in the middle of the line out, and he's not there, that's when it can show bad pictures to the referee. But yeah, I think that's something that when you hear about referees and their meetings, and you get a lot of feedback from the refs, and they're hot on things, that's definitely something that we probably need to be aware of, that they're hot on at the minute.
Thanks, Ian. Good luck this week.
Cheers.
Hi, Ian, how are things? Joe here from Virgin Media. How are you?
All good, thanks.
There was a couple of handling errors in the game, and it was quite unfortunate because a few of them were off good line breaks, where it seemed that last pass was kind of pushed or forced a little bit. But that's very much the philosophy of this team, as in, play to space and recycle the ball out of the tackle. So what's the learning there? What do you need to do to just get that right so that you can make that last pass stick?
Yeah, Faz, we talked about this. We looked at the few examples. Faz is massive on making sure that even though it might appear like it's a last gasp attempt and throwing the ball away, to be able to see where you're passing it, that's massive. To be able to look before you pass, and a lot of the times that might seem like such a basic thing, but so many times that doesn't get done, and those no look passes means that they could be half a foot behind or half a foot in front of where they should be, which then it leads to an instance like what happened in our game, or like potentially what happened to I think it was Jonathan Davis in the Wales game, and a ball goes down there. So being able to see where you're passing it, and if you're looking, you'll know if the pass is on or not. So I think that's something definitely a learning that we've looked at this week. I don't think that there's any part of Faz would be like, don't throw those passes, never throw those passes. But to be able to gather as much information as you can, be it by hearing the chat earlier, having an earlier look, or seeing the pass before you give it, all those things will give you more information to be able to make you make a better decision and have a better outcome there, I think.
Yeah, and like it seems that like there's an awful lot of belief in the message that's coming from the management team. Like you were saying, when it was 15-all, it was keep doing what we're doing. We know what the game plan is, stick to it. There must be a huge amount of belief within the group as to what your strategy is at the moment.
Yeah, like I think there's been a huge amount of buy-in over the last sort of 12, 18 months as to what we're doing. We know why we're doing it. The understanding is there amongst all the players, and that understanding coupled with the belief, I think, is why we can see things clicking into place and things starting to look good. It doesn't just come in attack. It has to be attack and defence. It has to be both sides of the ball. And if one doesn't work, the other one's not going to function too well either. So it's we see it in the training pitch. We train really well. We train at quite high intensity, and I think the guys seeing it in the training pitch, working well, and the pictures that we get shown to us in terms of the video review stuff, we can see the evidence is there for the belief in it. So the coaches have a very clear message, which make it easy to believe in, I suppose.
Good luck in Saturday. Thanks, Ian.
Cheers.
Take the last couple there, folks.
Good morning, how's it going? How much must it feel getting part of the boat? No fault of his own, he's got a head knock, like he's just given a pass, and then suddenly he's out of another international, and he's had a few at this stage. It must be really tough to watch a teammate struggle at this through this.
Yeah, it's definitely frustrating. Big Cheese wouldn't take something like that lightly either. It's definitely will be frustrating for him. But he's probably pretty confident that he's got one thing that he does have on his side is a really good medical team. They're going to look after him and make the right decisions. Not only the medical team, but I have, and I'm sure Cheese has, full faith in the coaching setup that they understand what the correct decisions are to be made around that. And that won't, and I'm certain that won't be held against him. So he knows that he has the full support of the coaches and medical staff, and again the players too. The players are very much behind him and ensuring that when he does get to come back, that he's had the recommended rest, recovery time, and make sure that when he comes back into it, like he has the full backing of everyone. So. Like I think it's obviously it's a very it's a highly spoken about area at the minute, but as I said, Cheese has and I think all the players have full confidence in what our medical staff are doing.
You've opened the door for a couple of players. John McCarthy, who I think you were fast tracked as a kid into the Ireland setup, but like this guy's only played 4 times for Leinster. I know he's only been in for a day or two, but how is he settled in? What kind of player do you see there? And you see some Irish fans can get excited about it if he's getting into the squad up more games for Leinster?
Yeah, definitely. I think he's come in. Had a good chat through him. We didn't get to do a huge amount yesterday, but got through a lot of detail stuff, and he got over the detail with his lineouts really well. And out there training today, he looked very sharp in his lineout work, and like for someone coming in that age, with not a huge amount of senior experience, to see him slotting in and getting over his detail and nailing a lot of stuff in the session, it's exciting to see, and I think he's definitely got a bright future ahead of him. Cheers.
Iain, sorry, could I just add one very quickly here? You've alluded already to all the frustration you've had with the season that you've had so far, but what would it mean to you to be part of a Triple Crown winning side at the weekend, and obviously the outside chance of even taking a title? What would that mean to you after the season you've had so far?
Yeah, like obviously an incredibly frustrating season, as we've already chatted about. The chance of being able to lift silverware with any team, be it club or especially country, is absolutely enormous. But one thing that very few guys, I'm actually not sure if any guys in the squad have lifted silverware internationally at home. That would be unbelievably massive. I think the excitement that has brought us leading into this week has been huge. I think it's a massive driver for us, but we got to make sure that we set that sort of excitement aside to ensure that we can concentrate on our game. The guys who've been involved for a number of years know how difficult it is to come across something at international level, some form of silverware. So look, we can focus on the Triple Crown and hope that what we do during the week covers that off, and then obviously whatever happens after that will either be an added bonus, and hopefully France can do the job. Not France can do the job. England can do the job with France.
Michael, take a quick one for you, tomorrow, and then we'll finish up.
Thanks.
Cheers, David. Iain, I just wanted to ask you obviously were part of that squad in 2015 that had a day, the last day, that was kind of similar in the matchups. You played Scotland and France played England. Obviously, the mathematical equations made that more kind of nerve-wracking, but could you just talk to us about some of your memories of that day and going into it, and how your emotions fluctuated over the course of that Saturday?
Yeah, I think heading into that game, we were the second game, weren't we? I think Wales had just done a pretty good job on Italy. We knew we had to score as many points as possible against Scotland going into that, and we went out, and I think we maybe had a slow enough start, but then we got into it and ended up, I think it was 40 odd points to 11, something around that, something like that. I can't remember the exact scoreline. We were delighted when we finished the game, but there was like a nervous excitement. It wasn't a celebration. It was a, right, we've done that, but like it's not done. And then I remember afterwards we were upstairs in Murrayfield watching the game unfold on the screen. Meanwhile, they were trying to get the post-match speeches, and the president's chatting and presenting the refs with the corner flag, and all the official stuff was happening. But no one was watching any of it. Everyone was just watching the screen, just waiting to see what was happening. And then I remember towards the end, France went to try and play out of their own in-goal area, and there was gasps everywhere. A handful of pints had been taken at that stage, and it was like the excitement was through the roof. And then I think at the end of it, I think it was Cockett was playing for France at the time, and he booted the ball out on his own goal line after they tried to run out a time or two, and then the place just erupted, and then went downstairs. And I think a load of the fans have been watching outside, and then they let them all back into the stadium, and we got presented the trophy on the pitch, and it was a great experience all around.